Hi, I am Midun and studying in Naranaguru College of Engineering, Manyalamuru. This is an audiobook on Panchatantra collection of short stories written in Sanskrit by Indian author and scholar Vishnu Sharma between 1200 CE and to 300 CE. Some scholars also believe that it was written in around 3 CE. Panchatantra stories are one of the most widely translated books in the history and are known for their wisdom on practical life. The stories themselves are delightfully narrated, with animals and bats often being the central characters. Thus, they provide valuable life lessons in light-hearted manner. While some of the stories may not be appropriate for children in the age group, most of them appeal to early stage learners due to the colorful characters. Here we list the most famous stories from the Panchatantra for kids. The stories can be used by parents, teachers, and children for storytelling sessions, role plays, moral education classes, school competitions, etc. The most popular and most widely narrated of the Panchatantra stories, the monkey and crocodile become friends, but the crocodile's wicked wife has other intentions. She wants to eat the monkey heart. Panchatantra story, the stork and the crab. Once upon a time, there lived a stork by the side of a tank. There were plenty of fishes in the tank, and the stork always had a full meal. As the years passed, the stork grew old and found it difficult to catch fish for food. Sometimes he would be hungry for days. The stork thought of a plan. He should buy the tank with a sad look on his face. He did not attempt to catch any fish. The fish, frogs, and crab in the tank noticed and asked him what the matter was. I have heard that some humans will soon fill this tank and grow crops for it. There will not be any fish left alive. This makes me sad, replied the stork. The fish were very worried and asked the stork to help them. The stork offered to take all of them to a bigger tank some distance away. But since he was old, he would need to rest between trips and would be able to carry only a few fish at a time. Saying this, he set out on his first trip, taking a few fish in his trek. However, he did not go to another tank. Instead, he took them to a bang rock and ate them there. Each time he was hurried, he would take a trip with a few more fishes. A crab was left in the tank. He also wanted to save themselves and requested the stork to take him along. The stork felt he would try a different meal for a change. He agreed to take the crab. The stork flew up with him. After a while, the crab looked down to see the fish tank where he was going to, but all he could see was dry land. Uncle, where is the big tank you are taking me to? He asked. The stork laughed and pointed to a rock below. There were heaps of fish bones on the rock. The crab realized that he was going to be the stock next meal. He would quickly offer a way to save himself. The crop dug his sharp claws into the stock neck and did not let go till the stock fell down dead. He then cut off the stock head and dragged it to the tank he lived in. There he told everyone how the stock had been cheating everyone and how he had killed him. Panchatantra story. The loyal mongoose. Once there was a farmer who lived with his wife and his infant son in a village. The farmer and his wife loved their son very much. One day, while returning from the field, the farmer found a little mongoose laying near the road. It looked pale and hurt. The farmer picked it up and brought it to his home. He told his wife that the little mongoose would be a pet for their son. His wife did not like the idea of having a mongoose near their son, but accepted it frankly. The farmer tended to the wants of the mongoose and gave it food and water. The mongoose recovered very quickly. The farmer's son and mongoose started growing together. One day the farmer wife had to go to the market. She put her son to sleep and told her husband to look after him. She took him not to let the mongoose go near their son. She somehow felt that it is not safe to let the animal go near their son. The husband assured her that he would look after the baby. Soon after, his wife had left for the market. The farmer was called by the local monkey leader. The monkey leader wanted his money to be returned that he had lent to the farmer. Some time back, the farmer had a good harvest that season and had the money ready with him. The baby was asleep, and thus the farmer could not take the child with him. He placed the child in the cradle and left him with the mongoose. He believed that the mongoose was an intelligent animal and could take care of their son. After some time, the farmer's wife came back with a basket full of vegetables. She found the mongoose waiting for them outside the house. She looked at the mongoose and realized that something was not right. The face and paw of the mongoose were covered with blood. She was dumbstruck. "You directly creature, you have killed my son," he cried and struck the mongoose on the head with her bucket full of vegetables. She ran inside and was released to find the baby sleeping peacefully in the cradle. But on the floor lay a black snake torn into pieces and bleeding. The snake appeared very poisonous. The farmer wife realized that what had happened. The mongoose must have seen the snake and realizing that it might harm the baby. The mongoose would have torn the snake into pieces. But what had she done? She rushed back to the mongoose with tears in her eyes. She lifted the heavy basket and bent down to look at him. The loyal mongoose was dead. Panchatantra story. The Brahmin's dream. Long ago, there lived a poor Brahmin in a village. He used to beg for a living and sometimes had to go without food for many days. One day he got a pot full of flour. He was very happy. He took the pot home and hung it up near his bed. He lay on the bed and gazed at his pot. Soon he fell fast asleep. and started dreaming. He dreamed that if a famine come to the land, he could sell the flour for very good price. People would outbid each other. He, he would finally sell it for 20 rupees. With this 20 rupees, he would buy a pair of goats. He found feed these goats on the green grass. Soon the goats would have lot of kids and he would trade the whole herd of goat for buffaloes and cows. The cows would have calves of their own and there would be lots of milk. He would make sweetmeats with the milk and butter and curd and sell it all in the market. Soon he could grow very rich and built a big house with huge gardens and fruit orchards. He would now start trading in fields, diamonds, and other precious stones. The kind would hear of his riches and bring along his daughter, the beautiful princess, and offer her hand in marriage. Soon they would have sons and daughters, and they would run around the house playing. When he would grow tired, he would pick up a stick and beat them, and beat them, and beat them. Imagine he had beating the children. The Brahmin began to beat the air with his hands. Suddenly his hand struck the pot of flour. The pot broke and all his contents spilling to the ground. The Brahmin woke up to find that he was dreaming everything. There was no big house, no lonely gardens, and no wife or children. Only the broken pot and floor scattered all over the floor. Panchatantra story, Union in Strength. Long ago, there lived a flock of pigeons in a dense forest. In the flock, there was a old pigeon who was very wise. All the pigeons respected and loved the wise pigeon. During the daytime, the pigeon used to fly all over the jungle in search of food and water. Every day before the nightfall, they used to come back to their nest. One day, while searching for food, the pigeon was rise again, streets underground. All the pigeons at once decided to fly down and eat the rice grains. But the wise pigeon did not think it was a good idea. He became suspicious that it would be a trap laid down by a bad catcher. How could so much of rice be found in the thick forest? He thought. He tried to stop all the other pigeons from going down and eat the rice, but none of them listened and they were very hungry. It was indeed a trap. A bad catcher had laid the net to catch the pigeons. The pigeons fell down, sat on the net and began to eat the rice grains. Soon they found that they were unable to move as their feet got stuck in the net. The wise pigeon did not come down and decided to sit on a branch of a nearby tree. A bad catcher saw the pigeon trapped in the net. Ah, so many pigeons. I will put them in cages and sell them in the market. He came and ran together the pigeon trapped in his net. The wise pigeon saw the bad catchers coming together the pigeon. The pigeons were desperately trying to free themselves from the net by pulling the net in their own direction. What should we do now? No matter how hard we try, we are not able to get rid on after it. They cried, please save us, they begged to the wise pigeon. Stop pulling the net in your own direction. Instead try to fly up together and draw the net with you. He advised all pigeons did as told. They start flapping their wings together and in on time started flying with the net still stuck to their feet. The bad catcher saw his act on unity in disbelief. The wise pigeon took the angry frog along with the net to the house of his friend, a mouse. He narrated the entire incident to the mouse and requested him to help. Even though the mouse did not have wings to fly, he had something that the pigeon needed right now, sharp teeth. He immediately set to work to cut the entire net, freeing all the pigeons. The pigeon thanked the mouse for help. They also thanked the wise pigeon for saving their life. The wise pigeon said, unity has great strength. As long as you stay united, no harm can come upon you. It was your act of unity that saved their lives today. Panchatantra story: The Cat's Judgment. A partridge wailed in the next beneath a large peepul tree. She had been living there for many years. One day she left home to look for food. She traveled to cornfield far away and stayed in the field for many days. While the partridge was away, a rabbit found their empty nest and made it his home. When the partridge returned, she was surprised and angry to find the rabbit living there. She told the rabbit to leave, but the rabbit refused, saying that it was no longer her home since she had not been living there for many days, and he had found it empty. The rabbit and the partridge argued loudly for some time. Many animals and bats gathered around. They heard both sides of the argument, but they were unable to decide whom the house belonged to. They told the partridge and the rabbit to take the dispute to a judge. The partridge and rabbit traveled far and wide, finally reaching the bank of the Ganges. There, at a distance, they saw a tomcat. However, they were scared to approach him. The tomcat was very wicked. He quickly closed his eyes, stood up on his hind legs, and started praying at the top of his voice. The partridge and the rabbit were puzzled as they were seeing a holy cat for the first time. They decided he would be a good judge for their dispute. When the tomcat finished his prayer and opened his eyes, the partridge explained the entire argument to the cat. When she had finished speaking, the rabbit told his part of the story. The cat sat quickly for a minute and then said, I am very old and cannot hear or see properly. Can you both come a little closer and tell me the whole story again? The partridge and the rabbit now trusted the tomcat and moved closer to him. As soon as they moved forward, the cat hit them hard with his paws, killed them, and ate them up. Panchatantra story: The Tiger, the Brahman, and the Jackal. Once a Brahman was passing through a forest when he came across a tiger caged in a trap. "Oh, precious Brahman, please let me out of this cage," called the tiger to the Brahman. "Oh no, my friend," replied the Brahmin. "If I did so, you would kill me and eat me." The tiger swore to not kill him and promised he would be the Brahmin's slave for his entire life. Listening to the tiger plead, the Brahmin heart softened and he released the tiger from the trap. Tiger immediately pounced on the man and cried, "What a fool you are! What is to prevent my eating you now?" The Brahmin prayed for his life. The tiger granted that he would abide by the decision of the first three things. The Brahmin chose to question as the justice of the tiger's action. The Brahmin first asked a tree, "I give shelter to all who pass by, yet humans tear down my brother for firewood. You are fool to expect." Graduated, replied the tree. Disappointment. The Brahmin turned to a buffalo. "I give humans milk and all they feed me in dry grass. Now that I have run dry, they tie me to a yoke and make me work from morning to night. You are a fool to expect graduated," replied the buffalo. Finally, the tiger and the Brahmin saw a jackal passing by and told him the entire story. "Wow, how very confusing," replied the jackal, shaking his head. "You were in the cage and the tiger come walking by. Your story does not make my sense. Could you please tell me again?" So the Brahmin told it all over again, but the jackal shook his head in a distracted sort of way. "I do not understand. The cage was in the tiger and you come barking by." "What a fool you are!" the tiger exclaimed. "I was in the cage and the Brahmin came barking by." "Of course, my dear tiger," replied the jackal. "I was in the cage and you came barking by, but how is that possible?" The tiger was now getting impatient. As he was very hungry, he jumped into the cage and said, "Look, I was in the cage like this and the Brahmin came walking by. Now do you understand?" "Perfectly," then the jackal as he suddenly shut the door. Panchatantra story: The Tortoise and the Geese. Once there was a tortoise and two geese that lived in a pond. All three of them were great friends and lived happily for more years. Then, when a drought struck the land, all the rivers and tanks started drying up. People and animals were dying. The geese decided to leave the country and fly away to some other place. Their friends had told them of a place which had plenty of food and water. When they meet the tortoise to bid farewell to them, the tortoise begged them not to leave him alone. The geese said, "Dear friend, even we do not want to leave you behind in this hour of need. But unlike you, we cannot sustain without food and water for too long. Our friends tell us of another place which has plenty of food and water. If you could fly, you could come with us too. But the tortoise could not fly. We kept begging the geese to know him alone. Finally, the geese relented. They told the tortoise, "You have very strong jaws. We have thought of a plan, but it is very risky. You will have to do exactly what we tell you. If you fail to follow our instructions, you will die." The tortoise agreed. They got a stick. The geese held the end of the stick with gentle breaks. The tortoise would cut the middle of the stick. The only condition was that the tortoise could not speak, or it would fall from the stick to instant death. The tortoise that this plan was very dangerous, but he did not want to be left behind. He promised to remain silent during the fight. The geese grew up carrying the tortoise with them. They flew over hills and fields and a village. As they flew over the village, people clapped their hands and shouted, "Look how wonderful! The geese are carrying the tortoise. Maybe they have captured the poor animal." The tortoise did not like the pointing and standing and unable to control himself. Burst out, "What are these fools?" As he spoke those words, he lost hold of the stick and fell from the great height to the ground and died. The Monkey Revenge. A family of monkeys were the pet of a king's son. One day, the old monkey chief predicted an imminent danger to his family. In spite of his warning, they stayed back and a series of events led to their death. The grieving monkey vows revenge against the king will be successful. Moral of the story: walk the path of greed and you will end up meeting disaster. Two snakes and the prince, the tale of two snakes. Fate unites a vanquished princess and a weakened prince. The smart princess finds out the real cause of her husband alarmed and the reason behind it to be two snakes. The snakes quarreled with each other one day and unbeknownst to them, she discovered their secret. How did she cure her husband and get rid of the snakes? Moral of the story: when the quarrel is among friends, it is the enemy who wins it. The musical donkey. The donkey befriends a jackal, and together they would sneak into nearby farms to fill up their stomachs. One day, after eating cucumber, to his heart content, the donkey feels like singing, while the jackal advises him not do so. The jackal is adamant. Moral of the story: there is a time and place for everything we do. The foolish lion and the clever rabbit. The rabbit who killed the lion. An extremely well known story of a clever rabbit who was sent to the lion prey. But the rabbit was determined not to give up so easily, and thus he devised a plan to kill the lion. Did the rabbit succeed? Moral of the story: focus on the solution and not the problem.
This audiobook was done by me. The stories from the Panchatantra book. Thank you for listening.